i Staten Island, Max Ross, mori konfirmimin e një përkraje nga elita demokratëve në Shtetet e Bashkuara. Wesly Clark, ish kandidati presidencial i vitit 2004, i cili shërbeu për 2 vjet dhe si komandant më i lartë ushtarak i NATO-s gjatë luftës në Kosovë, 1998-1999. Gjenerali i pensionuar Wesly Clark, i cili është një nga figurat e njohura në Partinë Demokrate, i larguar nga zgjedhjet presidenciale demokratët të vitit 2004, pasi fitoi vetëm një shtet, Oklahoma, tha se kishte ardhur për 2 arsye të takojë me shqiptarët, dhe e para ishte të votohet për Max Ross. Washingtoni ka nevojë për më shumë udhëheqës si Ross, i cili është, sipas tij, një veteran i përkushtuar i ushtrisë amerikane, dalluar që nga lufta në Afganistan, i cili 4 vjet më parë ka shërbyer edhe një mandat në Kongres. Mbështetja e Clark për kandidatin demokrat Max Ross në New York duket se ka të ngjarë të rezonoj me komunitetin e madh shqiptar të New Yorkut, të cilët e konsiderojnë atë një hero të vërtet dhe legjendë gjallë për shqiptarët, mbasi ai ka qenë udhëheqës i lartë si komandant suprem i NATO-s gjatë luftës së Kosovës 1998-1999. Clark, i cili udhëheqi koalicionin shumë kombësh që i dha fund gjenocidit kundër shqiptarëve etnik dhe i ka treguar botës se si duhet të ngrihen kundër tiranisë në emër të drejtësisë, tha Ross, mbas fjalimit të Wesly Clark, të cilin e falenderoi përzemërsisht për përkrajen dhe fjalimin e tij. Ai tha se komuniteti shqiptar nuk e ka harruar kur leadershipin dhe angazhimin e generalit Clark për të garantuar sigurinë e tyre në kohët më të vështira. Një shembull i të jetuarit të një jete të përkushtuar ndaj shërbimit ushtarak, flamurit dhe vendit e tij Shteteve të Bashkuara të Amerikës. Dhe kjo është ajo që ka të bëjë me këtë fushat në përkrahjen time nga Clark. Ish komandanti suprem i NATO-s për Europën, gjatë fjalës së tij të gjatë rreth 20 minuta në këtë takim me shqiptarët, nuk la pa përmendur edhe periudhën e tij kur udhëheqi bombardimet e Shteteve të Bashkuara dhe NATO-s kundra Serbisë, duke shpjeguar edhe një herë nëpërmjet kujtimeve të tija pse u bë lufta në Kosovë 23 vjet më parë. Ai tha se lufta në Ukrainë, mbështetja e NATO-s dhe Shteteve të Bashkuara është i kundërvjet Rusisë në ndaljen e saj për krimet dhe gjenocidin. Ti thonë ndal Putinit e Vučićit, ashtu si i thanë ndal Miloševićit dhe Radovan Karadžićit.
Put the right people in office, in the Senate, in the Congress, in your local communities. We can bring about the right kind of America for you and your children. And we can send a strong message to Vladimir Putin. No more ethnic cleansing. No more empowering Mr. Vučić in Belgrade. No more honoring the memory of Slobodan Milošević, or worrying about General Radko Mladic, who's in The Hague today. No, we're stopping that ethnic cleansing now. We can stop it with our votes in this election. Please, make it happen in this political race. I'm looking at what's happening in Ukraine. I made 2 trips since the summer to Kyiv. Met with the top generals, talked to all the political leaders there, met with the press, got a real sense for what's happening. It's amazing. It is so much like what happened to Kosovo. It feels exactly the same. This is a big country trying to stamp out the people in a smaller country. It's bullies, it's murder, and it's ethnic cleansing like you've never seen before. There's no telling how many Ukrainians have been killed, kidnapped, or otherwise disposed of by the Russians. They've taken tens of thousands of children and sent them to Russia. They go through these filtration camps and they ask people for their phones and they look at who they talk to. If you talk to the wrong person, they're not afraid yet of war crimes trials, but they should be, because they're committing genocide over there. And right now they're on the losing end. Honestly, the Russian military is not doing U.S. training. They're getting a lot of U.S. equipment. And after the Russians tried to seize Kyiv, they discovered that actually the Ukrainians didn't want to be Russians. Amazing thing. And then they tried to kill everybody with artillery over in the Donbass area, and they did. They inflicted horrendous casualties, but the Ukrainians stood firm. And now there's a counteroffensive underway toward Kherson. And it looks like it's going to succeed, but it's going to be slow, difficult, painful going. I was in Kosovo summer of 2021. I met Prime Minister Kurti for the first time, good man. And I told him what I thought was going to happen in Ukraine. And you know, when we were working Kosovo, there were some Ukrainians on the wrong side of that operation. A couple of them got captured by the KLA. I don't know whatever happened to them, but I asked them to be brought up to along with the Russians that were captured, to be brought up there to Mons, Belgium, where my headquarters was. I never could get a hold of them, and it was over before I could get them. But believe me, in Kosovo today, Prime Minister Kurti understands exactly the significance of what's going on in Ukraine. Exactly. So does the President of Macedonia. I had a nice conversation with Artan Grube, whom some of you know in North Macedonia. I talked to Eddie Rama. They all know what this is about. They know that if Putin gets his way in Ukraine, the Balkans is going to erupt in conflict again. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're all in this together. Those Ukrainians, they're fighting for our values. And they're fighting. My wife and I were fortunate enough to be back in Pristina in the summer of 2019. I don't know if any of you were there, but Hashim Thaci was the president, and he wanted to honor Madeleine Albright. He knew she was sick, I guess, and so they unveiled a statue of Madeleine Albright. They invited my wife and me and my grandkids back to see it. President Clinton was there. And President Clinton told us afterwards, he said, support of Kosovo was the most important thing I did in my presidency. Imagine that. You elect the right people in Congress, you can stop the active shooter drills. You can make this country safe for your children. And I believe in women's rights. One of the great revolutions of the 21st century is actually women count. Yeah, believe that. Not only do they have children, they help raise families, they actually have minds. They have voices. They have values, and they speak. It's one of the great benefits of modern civilization. So Max is on the right side of all those issues, and he's going to fight for them in Congress. But that's not the only reason you got to get out and vote for Max. The reason is that you got to send a message to Vladimir Putin. This election is about you. If you believe in what we did for Kosovo, if you believe that America should lead in helping others in the world achieve the kind of freedom, democracy, and values that we enjoy in America, then you got to vote for Max. Because he's going to get in Congress and he's going to make sure we live up to those values. Am I right? Now here's the second truth about elections. There's a lot of people that don't pay much attention to them, especially young people. Now those of you who were in Kosovo during the bombing campaign and have been through that, and I was riding with a gentleman over here who has been through it, and this lovely lady who introduced me, her mother, her parents have been through it. You know what to plant. This election's about you. If you vote for Max, if you vote and put the right people in office, in the Senate, in the Congress, in your local communities, we can bring about the right kind of America for you and your children. And we can send a strong message to Vladimir Putin. No more ethnic cleansing. No more empowering Mr. Vučić in Belgrade. No more honoring. No more honoring the memory of Slobodan Milošević or worrying about General Radko
Në fund të këtij takimi, ne i morëm një intervistë të posaçme generalit në pension Wesly lidhur me situatën aktuale në Kosovë, pas zhvillimeve më të fundit atje dhe si shikon ai këto zhvillime. Pyetja ime është për ngjarjet aktuale ndërmjet Serbisë dhe Kosovës, si për shembull llojet e
Well, it's been a
targa.
real crisis and a continuing problem. And I would like to see the sovereignty of Kosovo respected in all manners by the Serb population. And of course, Kosovo will respect Serbia's sovereignty. I think it's very simple. The war is over. It's time to bury the hatchet. Serbia has to respect the fact that Kosovo is an independent nation, and the people in Kosovo will respect the fact that there are some who are Serbian of background and some that are Kosovar background. I mean, that's the way it works. In Europe, just about every country in Europe has people from different ethnic groups and different language groups, and yet they're at peace. There's no reason not to have peace between Kosovo and Serbia.
A mendoni se vendimet e marra nga palët janë provokime apo diskriminuese?
I'm not going to pass judgment on how all that is going to play out because there's still discussion ongoing. I'll support the position of the United States on that. I don't want to get involved in the internal affairs there in Kosovo.
Do të thirreshit për të dëshmuar në Hag për Hashim Thaçin e shokut të tij. A do të shkonit dhe çfarë do të dëshmonit?
I suspect I probably will go and testify for Mr. Thaçi.
Pse Putini dhe Lavrov ndonjëherë në fjalimet e tyre e krahasojnë luftën e tyre në Ukrainë me luftën e Shteteve të Bashkuara dhe
Because he
NATO-s
knows
në
that the
Kosovë.
United States, if the United States supports Ukraine the way we supported Kosovo, that he'll never conquer Ukraine. And he wants to discourage American support for
Së fundi,
Ukraine.
si është jini të ardhmen e bisedimeve në mjet Prishtinës dhe Beogradit, në një kohë kur Vučić dhe Dačić thonë se Brukseli dhe Washingtoni po u bëjnë atyre presion që ta njohin Kosovën.
You know, I think that these talks are likely to be inconclusive until Mr. Putin is defeated in Ukraine and President Vučić recognizes that the turn to the east doesn't work. He's got to move Serbia to the west, and he's got to move Serbia out of the past and into the future.
Nga takimi I generalit Wesly dhe Max Ross me komunitetin shqiptaro-amerikan në Staten Island, New York, Bekir Sina.